All right. Good evening, guys. We are live, and we're just watching a live feed of stuff going on in Minnesota. There's, of course, the news for today is that someone got shot and killed when he was resisting arrest. He was carrying a firearm, and he attempted to pull the firearm on federal agents, and he got shot and killed. Now, of course, the usual reaction coming from the left is he was innocent, he was unarmed. Here's a statement from the mayor of Minnesota, and essentially, I mean, it's what you would expect from them because for weeks now they've been, in fact, for months they've been stoking this flame. This is what they've been wanting. They've been wanting something like this for months. They've been wanting someone to get hurt. First, it was Megan Good. Sorry, it was Renee Good. Now it's a random guy who was carrying a concealed firearm and pulls the firearm on federal agents. And instead of them essentially to talk to the people that they've been speaking with to tone it down, here's what they've been saying. Okay, I have to.
More than six masked agents pummeling one of our constituents and shooting him to death. How many more residents, how many more Americans need to die or get badly hurt for this operation to end? How many more lives need to be lost before this administration realizes that a political and partisan narrative is not as important as American values? How many times must local and national leaders must plead with you, Donald Trump, to end this operation and recognize that this is not creating safety in our city? As you'll hear from Director Sayer in just a second, we have seen these kinds of operations in other places, in other countries, but not here in America. Not in a way where a great American city is being invaded by its own federal government. I'm done being told that our community members are responsible for the vitriol in our streets. I'm done being told that our local elected officials are solely responsible for turning down the temperature. Just yesterday, we saw 15,000 people peacefully protesting in the streets, speaking out, standing up for their neighbors. Not a single broken window, not a single injury. Those peaceful protests embody the very principles that both Minneapolis and America was founded upon. Conversely, the mass militarized force and unidentified agents who are occupying our streets, that is what weakens our country. That is what erodes trust in both law enforcement and in democracy itself. So to everyone listening, stand with Minneapolis. Stand up for America. Recognize that your children will ask you what side you were on. Your grandchildren will ask you what you did to act to prevent this from happening again. To make sure that the foundational elements of our democracy were rock solid. What did you do?
All right, so here's the narrative that they're pushing. They're pushing it, and what they won't say, what they won't say is the part that their narrative has been playing for the last year. For the last year, they've called ICE the Gestapo. They've called border enforcement um, a an attempt of the Trump administration to make America white again. And one of the things that aggravates me with this entire situation is that we warned again and again that speech like this would create the problems that we're seeing today.
Like behavior. Plainclothes officers wearing masks are terrorizing immigrants.
The ICE issue is alarming beyond words. Masked men jumping out of unmarked cars, people disappearing, no due process. We're being hyperbolic. If you're a black and brown community, it's here. Wake up.
Dangers that we saw in Nazi Germany, especially in the earliest days of Nazi Germany, are the dangers that we need to react to now. They're taking people off the streets and sending them away. It's a 5-alarm fire, everyone.
Every single ICE agent who's engaged in this aggressive overreach and are trying to hide their identities from the American people will be unsuccessful in doing that. This is not the 1930s, and every single one of them, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, will of course be identified.
Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets. They're in unmarked vans, wearing masks, being shipped off to foreign torture dungeons. No chance to mount a defense, not even a chance to kiss a loved one goodbye, just grabbed up by masked agents, shoved into those vans, and disappeared. We need to make sure that there's a firewall that they have to come through before they get to them.
Early evidence that we've seen from rounds that were found near the suspected shooter contain messages that are anti-ICE in nature. Again, this is just the most recent example of this type of attack.
So they've done this for a year now, stoking the fire of an anti-ICE movement. And we've been saying that if they continue to do things like this, we're going to see somebody get hurt. You're telling the civilians to go after trained ICE agents. And then you have stories like this. I'm going to play this. And then Patricia, I mean, guys, you're watching this. Let's know your thoughts in the chat. We're going to be tracking the feed for the remainder of the hour, of what's going on in Minneapolis. But for the most part, it's people standing on soapboxes, literally calling for a strike on Monday, saying F Trump and F ICE and everything in between. So here's a story covered by ABC, and this is one of the lies that they spread to make it look like the ICE enforcement taking place in blue cities is illegal, is harsh, is harmful. It brings fear into societies or into communities and stuff like that. Look at this story here.
The growing outrage in Minneapolis, the images of a 5-year-old boy returning home from preschool, detained by ICE. Agents taking the boy and his father into custody. Vice President J.D. Vance in Minneapolis today defending ICE agents, claiming they were protecting the child, saying, what are they supposed to do? Matt Rivers in Minneapolis again tonight.
Tonight, the haunting images sparking a firestorm. A preschool boy standing in the Minnesota cold, swept up in the ICE crackdown. School officials say 5-year-old Liam, wearing his blue hat and backpack, and his father, Adrian Alexander Conejo Arias, had just pulled into their suburban Minneapolis driveway Tuesday when agents took that father into custody. The school then saying an agent essentially used the 5-year-old as bait, directing him to see if anyone else was home before taking the boy away. The district saying Liam is among 4 students recently detained.
The growing outrage in Minneapolis, the images of a 5-year-old boy returning home from preschool, detained by ICE.
All right,
Agents taking the boy and his father.
So this this narrative and others like it is what the Democrats,
well, the
mainstream
truth
media,
about that 5-year-old boy was his father ran away, leaving him stranded out in the snow. And when they knocked on the door of the house, nobody would answer the door. So what were they supposed to do? Leave the kid sitting out there in the cold? Nope. So you took him and they kept him safe.
Yeah.
Until they caught the father. And no, they did not use the child as bait.
So this is the narrative that the Democrats are pushing. ICE agents shot and killed another person in Minneapolis this morning. Get ICE out of Minnesota now. No mention of the fact that the person pulled a gun, a concealed gun, on ICE agents. And first of all, the ICE agents were attempting to detain the person because that person was engaging in obstruction. Whenever you have people who come out into the community to make noises, blow whistles to alert um, people who are about to be detained by ICE, it's called obstruction. Imagine a bank robbery is taking place and the police is on its way to arrest the bank robbers. And then you have a group of people who run onto the street to, first of all, slow down the police. And then the other half goes over to warn the bank robbers that the police is on its way. That's called obstruction. Okay. And that's also called aiding and abetting. So I'm not a lawyer, but I know enough to know that if you are assisting in the attempts of someone who the law enforcement agents need to apprehend, you are aiding them, you are abetting, you are obstructing. And it's called a crime. It's illegal. This gentleman was engaging in that. ICE proceeded to arrest him. This is just Renee Good playing out again. She was obstructing, she was aiding and abetting. ICE agents showed up to apprehend her. She attempted to speed off in the direction of an ICE agent. She got shot. That became a thing. The politicians in Minneapolis, like Mayor Frey, jump behind their microphones yet again, and then they begin to mule about ICE killing another person from Minneapolis. Now, this gentleman, I think there's a video of him. I'm going to play the video he released earlier today. And I think it's him. He puts out a video calling on Antifa and other supporters of what Antifa is doing to arm themselves and to go out and shoot ICE. I'm gonna look for that video. Just give me a moment. I'm gonna look for that video, and I'm gonna play it because these are the things that we've been talking about for a long time. I'll play that video and then Patricia will talk. If you're watching in the chat, I want you guys to let me know your thoughts about this story because we woke up. Well, some of you woke up this morning to this story. I was already up and then I saw it in my feed. There are live streams that have been going on for 8 hours now, just covering this incident. And when you hear the narrative coming from leftist outlets or channels covering this issue, you think that you're hearing something completely different from what you're seeing on the screen because there are videos. Of course, this is this is the age of the internet. We have videos of the incident from different angles, and we can see that the gentleman, the person, clearly provoked Border Patrol. They attempted to apprehend him. He pulls his weapon. Now, this is this clown inciting people to get firearms to kill ICE.
My name is Kyle. I'm Antifa, and there's so much rage in me that I've had to record this like 15 times trying to get the message out. They fucked up. Okay? Go watch my other video. If you're not here and you're not caught up, you missed the fucking fight. But if you are, it's time to suit up. Boots on the ground. Nicollet and fucking 26th. My house is 4 blocks away. Anywhere between Franklin and Nicollet and 26th and Nicollet. Show up. Ready to go. Okay, not talking about peaceful protests anymore. We're not talking about having polite conversations anymore. I am talking specifically to my fucking followers. This is everything I have fucking talked about, and this is exactly what I said was gonna happen. This is exactly what I said was gonna fucking come when we didn't fucking go and march on fucking Whipple with guns. Sorry, but welcome to America 2026, where Second Amendment is the only thing that's going to keep you fucking protected from literal fucking Nazi gunmen that are killing innocent people in the street with impunity. This is not a fucking joke. There's nothing fun to chant about it. Get your fucking guns and stop these fucking people.
Very charming individual. Patricia, what do you have to say about his nice invitation to his followers?
Do not show up with the firearm thinking that you can outbest people who've been trained to use them. Because if you've never been trained militarily or as a law enforcement agent to use that firearm, you're not going to win. You're not going to take those agents down. They will stop you. And this is inciting the worst type of violence that could possibly come around. Because when you've got, and this is what Waltz did, was talking about using police officers and the National Guard against ICE. Knowing that that is a war battle. That weapons would be drawn on that one. And now these idiots out here are thinking, oh, it's okay to go after ICE with a gun. No, it's not all right.
Now, common sense tells you that if you're approaching federal law enforcement or law enforcement in general, and you are carrying a weapon, and they attempt to apprehend you, you come quietly. You don't resist, because the weapon on you escalates the situation 1,000-fold. If you're carrying a knife, that is maybe 10-fold. If you're carrying a gun, that is 1,000-fold. Okay, so this is the moment leading up to that. You can hear the whistles. He's there to obstruct. They are provoking Border Patrol. Okay, Border Patrol didn't initiate this confrontation. They did. And then Border Patrol decides, okay, you guys are in obstruction now. That's the guy. I think he's circled.
Has he got the gun in his hand?
No, I think that's a camera. So he's being apprehended now. He's being apprehended, and then he's pushed to the ground. They're trying to cuff him, and then he reaches for his gun.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Honestly.
And then he reaches for his gun. He's resisting, reaches for his gun. That's what happens. Look, whenever you have, these crazy situations happening and you have people begin to stoke rage, no one wants to calmly look at the footage. Who initiated the confrontation? Why did he take a gun to a meeting or a meetup like this? If this was a meetup, if this was a protest, why did you take a gun to the protest? And then while you were being apprehended, why did you resist? He could have simply turned around, put his hands behind his back, and that was fine. Or knelt down, interlocked his fingers behind his head, and that would be fine. He was resisting because clowns like Frey and Walls told him that he needed to go out there and resist ICE and kick ICE out of Minneapolis.
Yep, and Walls and Frey has called it a war and protect our city against these people, and they've used all the words to encourage this type of behavior.
It is sad, it is heartbreaking, but do you know what? No matter how we try to describe this and say, look, this didn't have to happen. You have Frey out there saying the rubbish he's saying. Now let's hear from Bovino, because this is what
As DHS law enforcement officers were conducting a targeted operation in Minneapolis against an illegal alien, Jose Huerta Chuma. You can see this illegal alien on the screen to my left and right. That is Jose Huerta Chuma, whose criminal history includes domestic assault to intentionally inflict bodily harm, disorderly conduct, and driving without a valid license. During this operation, an individual approached U.S. Border Patrol agents with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. The agents attempted to disarm the individual, but he violently resisted. Fearing for his life and the lives and safety of fellow officers, a Border Patrol agent fired defensive shots. Medics on the scene immediately delivered medical aid to the subject, but the subject was pronounced dead at the scene. The suspect also had 2 loaded magazines and no accessible ID. This looks like a situation where an individual wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement. Then, about 200 rioters arrived at the scene and began to obstruct and assault law enforcement. Crowd control measures have been deployed for the safety of the public and law enforcement. This situation is evolving, and more information is forthcoming. The officer was highly trained and had been serving as a Border Patrol agent for 8 years. The officer has extensive training as a range safety officer and less lethal officer.
So,
And remember, Antifa has been designated as a domestic terrorist group.
Oh, and this guy who's calling for people to show up with guns, he's Antifa.
Yep, he
Right?
said he's Antifa.
Yeah, he's Antifa.
Now, they keep telling you that these communities are living in fear because ICE is there. Well, I've got news for them. Americans fear the Antifa members that are masked and attacking people on the streets, blocking streets, creating chaos around homes. Because without them showing up, it'd be peaceful. It'd be like it was under Obama when CNN rode along with ICE to go pick up someone.
Yeah. This did not happen with CNN, because with CNN, ICE was Obama's ICE. I covered that in the video that we did on Monday. That was Obama's ICE. And no one could speak against Obama's ICE. All right? No one could attack the Democrat Jesus.
And
nothing he did was wrong.
Before Obama got out of office, Antifa was born and showed up in our streets to start creating chaos, burning things, attacking people. They even killed people in Portland, Oregon. When I first seen them reacting in the streets, it reminded me of Hitler training young people in Germany, and they were in uniforms, and the uniforms were brown in color, and they called them brown shirts.
Yeah.
And these young people that he trained were sent out into the street to cause chaos, attack people, set things on fire, create chaos. so he could push on in with his agenda on killing the Jewish people and taking over the world because Germans were superior
Well,
until the Olympics and the black Africans showed him they weren't.
I've said repeatedly that Antifa is the Nazi brown shirts. I said it repeatedly. That was months and months
Yes.
ago. This is happening in real time in Minnesota. All
I
right.
got
So,
put in Facebook jail for 3 months for calling them brown shirts.
well, but that's what they are. And you and I have been proven correct. So these people are desperately trying to appear like there's this resistance happening in Minnesota. All right. You
Where'd they
have
get this plywood from? That stuff is like
that's a good question. It's well
that stuff
organized.
is like $45 a sheet. Where did that come from? I'm
Well,
seeing over $100 worth of $300 right there worth of plywood.
well, the people who are behind all of this, who are backing this financially, okay, I suppose that
One, two,
you know
three,
will
four,
it's it's amazing to watch what's
five.
going on. All right, of course, these are cheers, and
Yeah,
this is
that's close to $300 worth of plywood right there.
so in essence, okay, you have all of these people banding together to obstruct federal law enforcement.
And
Where,
what's out there in the street? Is that tables?
yeah, plastic tables from someone's um, store or shop, or I mean, it's crazy. So we're going to end the live stream on the main channel. If you're on the main channel, okay, please join us on the live stream channel. We're simply going to continue this live stream on the live stream channel. Search for Real Crossroads. Excuse me. Search for the handle on the screen on YouTube, Real Crossroads Live, and then you can continue watching this stream right over there. We want to keep our live streams on the main channel at around 20 minutes, but we've exceeded it by a few minutes because of how much information we're trying to discuss. So we'll simply end the live stream and on the main channel, but we're still going on Crossroads Live, Rumble, Twitch, and Kick. So we'll see you there. All right, so that's off. So there look, it's not this is not rocket science. For months since the riots we saw in California, I kept warning. I said, if this continues, someone is going to get hurt. And they kept pushing it and pushing it. Now we have how many people shot in the space of 2 weeks? We have how many people killed within the space of a couple of weeks? And we still have Frey and Walls and the Democrat Party saying the same things that created this insanity. And then and the news media in real time stoking the flames, like we saw that report with the the toddler who was reportedly being used as bait by ICE, but it turns out that his father abandoned him and was in hiding, ran from ICE and left him out in the cold. All right, and they're claiming like, okay, he was being used as bait, and that was an ABC report. When are they going to stop this insanity? I don't think they're going to stop. I think they're going to double down. They're going to ramp this up, and they're going to point at you and me and say that we're on the wrong side of history. They're going to point at the Trump administration and claim that the Trump administration essentially is trying to turn the United States into an oppressive autocracy. Of course, Frey says, this has never happened in America before. Really? Um, uh,
2019.
ICE enforcement never happened in America before. Okay, we have videos of CNN doing a ride along and taking and filming the entire process. They even filmed ICE arresting an American citizen. They arrested the wrong person. So saying that this has never happened before is a lie. And that's what they've essentially been caught doing again and again. But do you know what? It doesn't matter as long as they keep pushing their narrative. The mainstream media is going to continue to encourage everyone out there who hates Trump to continue to repeat the lie. They're going to continue to say all of these things that have been blatantly debunked. They're going to continue to repeat them because you know what? It is convenient to their narrative. It's convenient to continue to paint Trump and conservatives as the enemy, as the danger to democracy, as dangerous, as evil. They're going to continue to push it. Look, we have the receipts of them calling for violence again and again, not just
Um,
on ICE, but also on conservatives.
this is not taking place near the ICE facility.
No.
This is taking place in a downtown area. They're trying to pull the same stunt they pulled in Portland, Oregon, where they took over several blocks of that city. That's what it looks like.
Well, the the state, the governor of the state has failed. The mayor has failed. The state essentially is look, I watched as these guys essentially did chants in Spanish. If someone comes into your country or if a group of 500 people stand in your country and they're chanting in a different language against your government, it's called an invasion. That's an enemy force stating their intentions and telling you that they are here to oppose your government. And if they're opposing your government, they're opposing the people. An election held in November of 2024, President Trump was elected. Since he was elected, this has been an ongoing action by the left since he was elected. So whenever they say that Trump is the danger to democracy, okay, I'm not convinced because he was elected by an election that was deemed free and fair. He won both the popular vote and he also won the electoral college. And yet we have people lining up saying that he's illegitimate, that they don't accept his presidency, and they begin to organize these riots. And
They
I said that they
they
were going to be doing this for the entirety of his term, and it's playing out exactly the way I said it.
the way they're setting this up in those streets, they are getting ready to bus in a whole lot of Antifa. And this is not going to be good. If that's what they're doing, Trump will call out the National Guard.
All right. Now the National Guard. Um, let's. There was something that I saw, a report that I saw, and I'm just going to play it, and you let me know if legitimacy in the claims of this video. Essentially, there are claims that Tim Walz has begun to call in his National Guard, according to the claims. Okay. So 1 second, I'm going to
He
cue
won't
this
do
up.
it because as soon as he does, Trump can federalize him.
Yeah. So I'm going to switch to this tab. I'm going to switch to this tab, and then we're going to read the caption. Okay. So let's read the caption. Breaking: Minnesota National Guard has confirmed we are mobilizing as we talk, this time under Tim Walz's command. It's time for Trump to federalize and have them take control. Now, let's play the video, because it's like we are living in very, very strange times. Okay, my feed has gone off again. Yeah, so
This is not going to be pretty, y'all. And most of the young people out there don't realize what happened back in the 60s when the National Guard were called out to control riots.
yeah. So let's play this, and then you'll tell us what happened.
So the question is, what's the National Guard doing right now? So we have been on state active duty for over a week. So we've had soldiers prepared in the metro area to respond in a much rapid manner than if they were not mobilized. So we have a request from the Hennepin County Sheriff to support them, and that is to help them free up additional resources for other work that they need to do. And we have started coordinating with them this morning on that, and that first area of support will be assisting them with their requirement to provide security to the Whipple building. So we'll be helping them there. And then we are in parallel planning with other organizations within the state of Minnesota, to include the State Patrol, the Minnesota DNR, and other local agencies to render assistance if requested.
Could you say how many?
Oh, that's hysterical.
I would say that the number that we have is adequate for the requests that we have right now, and I will also.
That's
Tell
hysterical.
us. So
the state police and the local police of Minnesota have done absolutely nothing except complain after there's been a shooting that they can't be part of the investigation. That's the most you've heard out of their local and state police.
the police is meant to provide support for Border Patrol and ICE. They have been told by the leadership of their state and city that they are not to provide that support to Border Patrol and ICE. They've equally turned around and said to their city, the citizens of their city, resist ICE and get them out.
Now,
They've weaponized their citizenship or their population against federal law enforcement.
Here's
At the same time, pulling back on the protection that the local police department is meant to be providing.
National Guard was called out, federalized, and sent to Iraq and Afghanistan. This was done under Obama. Once they're called out and they're federalized, if they do not follow orders from the commander-in-chief, they can be court-martialed and sentenced to time at Leavenworth for not following orders. And I'm wondering how many of them are on the side of Walz and how many of them actually take their duty as National Guardsmen seriously.
Well, we're going to find out soon enough. So let's hear what else he has to say.
Also tell you that we are bringing more resources that will be able to respond in a timely manner that are not fully mobilized yet, but we are mobilizing more soldiers as we talk at this time. I'd like not to get into specific numbers for an operational security standpoint, but right now we have all the resources to meet the requests that we have.
I would note on this one, too, that we'll be billing the federal government for the cost of the National Guard because they are incurring the costs that are falling on us by their reckless actions. Yes, sir.
That'll be okay, Walls. They're going to be federalized.
I'm sorry. Reckless actions. I'm trying to understand what he means by reckless actions. You have people who who go out of their way to obstruct federal law enforcement officers. They
This
blow
is
whistles.
turning Americans against Americans. That's all he's doing. That's the bottom line right there. Turn Americans against Americans. Create war in the street. And they get their civil war. Well, they aren't allowed to have it.
Well, they can't get a civil war because everything is recorded. We can all see the insanity. We know the insane people who are doing what they're doing. Look, for the American Civil War, because we didn't have live streaming, we didn't have video evidence of anything, we get to go on hearsay and suppositions. Yes, there was a civil war how many years ago? But today we're watching in real time the craziness. We all saw the video. We all saw the guy who went out of his way to go to an ICE obstruction event carrying a weapon with two loaded clips. He's getting detained, and then he pulls his weapon. What do you guys look? There are too many people
That
out
was
there.
27 shots that he could have taken with those clips and what was in that gun. Because I think a 9mm carries 9 bullets in a clip.
If that guy had
If I'm
pulled out
correct.
his weapon, fired off a shot, and it killed one of the protesters, Trump would still have been blamed.
Yes. See
This
what you
same
made
thing.
us do?
No, this same incident. Okay, something similar, not similar, but something that is adjacent to this happened a few months ago when I think it was an Antifa guy who went to one of the No Kings protests carrying a rifle.
Yeah.
And then someone pulls a weapon and begins to shoot at him. He takes off, and then the bullet from the guy who's going after him, shooting at him, kills someone, and then they try to twist it to make it look like it's Trump's fault.
Stop it. Stop it.
So, when we see these things take place, and we look at how they're twisting themselves, bending over backwards, trying to make every bad thing that happens, which they caused, Trump's fault. Like look at Walls. He steps up and he's saying he's billing the federal government. If you guys had done your job and provided police support for ICE enforcement like you guys did for Obama.
Well, that was the wrong thing for him to do, to tell him that he's going to bill Trump for it, because Trump's going to say, well, if I'm going to pay for it, then I'm going to control them.
Yep. Well, guys, you're watching, you're listening. What do you think? Let's know your thoughts in the chat. We've spent the day watching this insanity, and you know what? I've seen so much happening, and I'm thoroughly convinced that no matter how much we scream and rage and shout and try to say, look, can't you guys see that you guys are being retarded? You guys are being crazy. You have people telling you to show up armed to go against trained military trained agents.
To fight for the freedom of a criminal, illegal alien. I mean, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
We've said it again. Well, I've said it again and again. The Democrat Party are the party of criminals, illegal immigrants, and sexual offenders.
And these people are so brainwashed. I seen Rebel. She interviewed a bunch of people in Florida that were at a protest, and she was carrying around a piece of poster board with like 9 men's faces on it that were child sex offenders that ICE was arresting. And she asked the protesters, "Do you want these people in your neighborhood?" Well, no. Well, then how do we get them out of your neighborhood? Well, the police, but the police ain't allowed to deport people.
Mm-hmm.
So who's going to do it? And they were getting totally frustrated with her asking that question because they haven't got enough common sense to think, oh, there is a specific unit in America to remove illegal aliens.
Sometimes I feel like, yes, they don't have enough common sense to think through that, but sometimes I think it's that they know the truth, but they're so desperate to push their narrative that they want to they get backed into the corner, but they just have to continue pushing their narrative. All they have to do is do a Google search. Just do a Google search. You've seen these videos. I've seen videos where someone is supposed to do a simple Google search to prove what they're talking about, and they stand there for 3 minutes
trying to find something,
trying to do a Google search over the stuff. All I have to do, like when I do the videos, I do a search to find the stories that I know happened. I watched these things happen. If I say that that I saw these things playing out over the years, I know those stories. I put it into YouTube, I put it into Google.
Yep.
I can see the headlines immediately show up. These guys can't find any of the things that they claim.
Nope.
Any of them.
They're not going to because they don't exist.
They're trying to push a narrative.
They don't even know that the information they've been given isn't real.
This guy got killed. He wasn't murdered for people who are going to trot out and say the crazy things that they're eager to say. And for excuse me, I want to play this video because it came up in my feed while I was preparing for the show, and essentially, this is someone who used to vote left. So while the left is going insane and pushing as far as they can, people like this guy are waking up. So let's hear what he has to say.
Right now, we're seeing a giant cultural shift when it comes to politics. What we're seeing currently is no longer Republican, Democrat. We're no longer seeing that. What we're starting to see currently at this present time is basically Americans and the left. And I know there's going to be a group of people on the left that don't want to hear that. They're going to sit here, they're going to call me right wing, they're going to call me a bunch of shit. But the problem is, you've pushed people like myself that are independent registered voters so far away that we're never even going to look to the left again. Ever again. It would take a fucking fantasy. It would take a fucking pipe dream in order for me to ever even look in the left's direction again. You guys have done everything you can to bastardize anything normal in this country. You've bastardized people having kids. You've bastardized straight couples. You've bastardized men and women wanting to stay in their separate bathrooms. You've bastardized people trying to keep sexual education away from children. What the fuck is going on with the left, bro? You've bastardized us wanting to keep the country safe. You've bastardized people being patriotic. You've bastardized people waving the American fucking flag. You've bastardized being a fucking American. How can I ever vote in your direction again?
Yeah, that that is that
Marxist.
is that is strong. And for we're at the home stretch now. Okay, so
We've been screaming for years that the signs were leaning toward the left, going full on Marxist communist.
yeah,
And Hitler was a Marxist. He was the birth father of Marxism turned into communism. And when it took over Russia, it killed well over 1 million people. And there was no war.
yeah,
When it took over Russia and Stalin and Leningrad and all them marched in there was not a war in Russia. But yet, well over 1 million people died. Because their ideal was you killed the opposition, but not only them, but their entire families. Everybody related to them had to be killed, so there'd be no retaliation.
yeah,
And what you're seeing now is them setting the same thing up right here on American streets in the Democrat controlled cities and states. And thank God they've only got 3 major West Coast cities, Minnesota and New York, so far. They don't have enough to do it. And they're stupid enough to think they do. Because they can't bring it to the other states. The people in those other states is not going to put up with Antifa showing up. They'll take them down and they won't even call the police to do it. It's like, oh no, you don't come here and do that. No, you try to come here and destroy our stuff, you're going to find out you can't run fast enough to get away from us. That's a
well,
proven fact.
yeah. You've told me when they tried, and you guys did a
Yeah.
good job at letting them know if anyone steps off that bus.
Poor little Nancy, Kentucky. In Nancy, Kentucky, we have a Civil War battlefield. It's called the Zofield Battlefield. Zofield was a Union general that won the Battle of Mill Springs right here in Kentucky. When the battle cleared, they took the fallen Union soldiers and buried them in what is now the National Cemetery. The fallen Confederate soldiers were buried at a mass grave with a small marker on it. They have built a Civil War museum next door to the National Cemetery that explained what was going on with both sides. And Antifa came down here, and somebody found out about it on the internet that they were coming. And over 500 people showed up to defend the battlefield, the museum, and that cemetery. Now, in Nancy, we don't have we don't have a mayor, we don't have a police chief, we don't even have a red light. So it was citizens that showed up to defend this place and to keep them from taking Nancy off the map.
Hmm.
And the bus showed up, the doors did not open. Nobody got off that bus, and it turned around and went back to Louisville, Kentucky, where it came from. but I had never seen so many guns out in public in all my life. And they weren't just out in public, they were holding them to where they knew what they had in their hands. And three of our sheriff's deputies were guarding the cemetery with M16s. So that's what happens when Antifa shows up in an area that people have got common sense, know who they are and what they represent, and are not going to allow them any ground.
Yeah.
Not going to happen here. And when that little old song come out, "Try That in a Small Town," he was not wrong.
Yeah. Oh, and they were upset. They were upset about the song. They were upset. That is,
That
he's
was
being
racist
he's
because they
racist.
had it in front of that courthouse that they actually had lynchings at. That was racist.
Anyway,
That was
so
crazy.
that was crazy. Like, Canary King says greetings.
Hello, Canary Kid.
Yeah. So I usually want to know where you guys are watching from. So let us know where you're watching from. If you're live, and we want to know who you are. Want to connect with you, and we don't know where you're watching from. So guys, we're basically at the end of this live stream. I spent today keeping tabs on what was going on in Minnesota. I don't celebrate the death of anyone, no matter how um
It is sad that somebody was so brainwashed that they thought that it was a good idea to do what that guy did.
yeah, it is sad. Patricia and I don't celebrate the fact that he got killed. We
And
think it
for
was
what?
foolish. It was a foolish thing to do. Foolish thing to do. It's like jumping into a tiger's cage and yanking on the tail of the tiger. Okay, you don't do that.
It
Okay,
would be the same as the police going out and picking up that guy for committing this crime, and these Antifa people showing up saying, "No, you can't take him." That's lawlessness. That's getting rid of the very foundation of what keeps our cities safe. And Minneapolis is a horrible, horrible example of how to deal with it.
well, they've drawn the line in the sand, and they've insisted on
Well,
running
like
their
I
state
said,
and city that way.
let
That
him activate the National Guard and see what happens. Trump says, "Yeah, we'll pay for them, but they're going to go by my commands."
Oh well, then CNN, TDSBC. I'm not going to call them MS now. Okay, TDSBC, and ABC, and all of them are going to line up as per usual and try to make it appear like Trump is doing something wrong.
Yeah,
We've
oh, he's going for martial law.
well, he's Trump has been very calculated for this second term. It's impressive. He's been very restrained. It is so impressive that there are people, and you know who you are out there. You think to yourself, if I was in Trump's shoes, I would have zero restraint. All of these protesters will be in jail by now. Everyone who donated would have their accounts frozen. But that is exactly what the people who are in socialist or communist countries do to the opposition. Trump is holding up the very principles that make America great. Free speech is allowed. Everyone is entitled to due process. That's what we're seeing.
And they are picking up people who've been at these protests that have attacked agents
Mm.
and attacked the buildings. You're not hearing about it because the news don't want to report it. But what I have found out is that they are taking their time, they're doing their homework, they're dotting their I's, crossing their T's, they are collecting the video evidence, and then they are showing up at these people's homes, knocking on their door, reading them their rights, and taking them in custody and charging them. That's how they're doing it. They're not doing a big public display of taking these rioters down, but they are getting charged. They are going to court, and there ain't no telling how long that's going to play out in our courts.
Yeah, well,
Because their lawyers will want this put off for as long as possible to put time between what they actually did and when the jury hears the story.
yeah,
But what they don't realize is Americans aren't going to forget what they seen on the videos.
yes.
And I don't know of anywhere in America you're going to get those people a fair trial because it was plastered everywhere.
Oh no. The the important thing is that due process is being observed. All of this insanity is being documented. Canary King and I and you have been talking, and one of the things that I said to Canary King this afternoon was, look, we have to continue to hold their feet to the fire. We have to continue to document these things, and we have to continue to bring up evidence of the hypocrisy that they've been pushing out there. We just have to have so much evidence out there that anyone who sees it and still decides that they want to back the insanity of the left is doing so with their eyes wide open.
And they have been running down Pam Bondi. They are trying to destroy her with the American people. And what people need to understand is that bringing charges against somebody, you need the evidence
Yeah,
to go in front of a
yeah,
jury and win that trial.
yeah.
So give it time. It's happening.
There are a lot of people out there who support Trump, who want Trump to do what the Biden administration did. And you know what? A part of me says, yes, do it.
No.
Okay? They broke down the doors of patriots who went to the Capitol building to protest the insanity of the rigged
And
2020
never
elections.
entered the building.
They never entered the buildings, and there was one guy, Enrique Tarrio, was in a different state, for crying out loud, but because he was in a chat room, he
And
was
one
given
woman
19 years.
that
Was
was supposed to be there and ended up not going, and they broke her door down and took her to jail.
Yeah,
And she wasn't even there. And luckily for her, she was able to prove that she wasn't nowhere near that Capitol building when that happened.
yeah. Or are we
But
talking about?
she
Go on.
had to hire a lawyer. She
Yeah,
had to spend money.
yeah. And that is part of the lawfare. They know that
Yep.
just having a legal case with the state is going to tie you up in court. You're going to be spending money just to stay out of jail. You're going to lose so much time and resources.
Yep.
Okay, this is the weight of the federal government, your taxpayer money being aimed at you. They know what they're doing. So even if they're not going to get you in jail, they're going to tie you up in court for so long that your life will be on hold for a long time.
And
Okay.
now you know why Trump pardoned every blooming one of them.
So it's
Even the
exhausting.
guilty ones.
Yeah, it's exhausting, but you know what? Trump, I believe his DOJ is playing this the right way. He's doing the right thing. He's following due process. No matter how much they scream on the View about how he is that how he's abusing the legal system, we haven't seen anyone getting arrested simply because they strolled past the Capitol building. Okay? We haven't seen people. The Biden administration put people in jail for praying outside of abortion clinics.
You know what hit me the hardest with Trump is when he called the National Guard out to D.C. His National Guard went around that city telling people Don't be smoking out in public. Don't be drinking out in public. Don't do this. Keep it behind the doors. Don't be doing this stuff out in public because then we'll have to take you in.
Yeah.
So they went around and actually talked to people
Yeah.
who live in DC and told them.
Yeah.
And how many law enforcement operations would do that? Would go around and warn them, look, this is what we're going to be looking for. Is you being drunk in public, high in public, carrying a weapon in public, attacking someone in public, then you're going to be taken down.
Well, CNN said that it was an invasion.
Yeah.
They said it was an invasion, that Trump was invading Washington, D.C.
And all at once, crime stopped.
Surprise.
Without thousands of arrests. Think about that. They didn't show thousands of people being arrested in Washington, D.C. for crimes because the crimes just stopped. And it worked. So, say what you want to about Trump. He's a genius.
Well, anyway, we're here at the end of the live stream. So we figured that we would focus on the happenings of today. It's unfortunate that we're seeing the thing that we've been warning would happen for a long time. For a year, we've been saying the rhetoric coming from the Democrat Party, coming from mainstream media, was going to get someone killed.
I tell you what, if I was a person that lived in Minnesota, I think I would be showing up at Minneapolis and telling them, stop this now. Send these people home. We're not putting up with this. But if the people of Minnesota aren't going to stand up for what's right, they're going to watch their state burn. And
They aren't. They aren't, because these guys are walking down streets and attacking people. They're literally stopping people in the middle of the street and accusing them of being ICE. Okay,
I've seen videos. Yeah.
So
one guy beat the far out of one dude that come up to his car because he was driving a white SUV and thought he was ICE and started beating on his car, and the dude jumped out and just took him down.
It's mind-boggling that we're
That's
seeing
when it's gone too far.
Well, but that is what chaos looks like. That's what chaos looks like.
Yep.
They've been saying this for a long time. The people who don't have enough brain power to believe it, also to do their own research, believe it. The people who want this narrative to be true, the Marxists out there, want this chaos to happen, because once there's chaos, so this is part of Marxist doctrine. Once there's chaos in the society, that chaos creates a window for them to take power. It's all about power.
Saul Alinsky's Steps to Chaos.
Rules for radicals.
Look, yep.
So
and
on this note, we have to say good night. Do we have all the answers for you tonight? We don't have all the answers, but we do have one answer. Have some common sense. Don't go attacking federal agents when they are enforcing the law. All right. Don't listen to insane people who want you to go out there and put yourself at risk over a lie.
And don't put up with their nonsense.
Yeah. And if you're accosted, okay, whether you're white or black or brown or green, if you're accosted by law enforcement, don't resist, especially when you have a concealed weapon on you. You have to kneel down. assume the position, do not resist, do not even reach for your weapon.
When my daughter started driving, we had this conversation. She is a little bit over 4 feet tall. So when she's sitting behind a steering wheel, it looks like she's a child. So I was concerned about her getting stopped and being checked for a driver's license. And what I told her was, you put your hands on the steering wheel. If it's night, turn your dome light on so they can see inside the car. Keep your hands on the steering wheel. Let them know that you're not a threat to them. If you need to reach for something, you tell them what you're reaching for and where you're reaching at for it. I'm getting in my purse and get my wallet out so I can give you my driver's license. I'm getting in my glove box to get my registration and my insurance card. Let them know exactly what you're doing. Because I don't want to get a call that some guy freaked out and shot my daughter because he thought she was reaching for a weapon. And I said, you do that every time the police pull you over. I do it. I've gotten stopped and been issued a speeding ticket. Yes, Granny speeds. Very much. So much that she got sent to traffic school for it. And I do the same thing. I keep my hands on the steering wheel. I roll my window down. I let the police know that I am not a threat to them. And when they asked me how fast I was going, I said, I don't know. How fast was I going? I don't argue with them. That's not a time to argue with anybody about what you're getting stopped for. Do it in court, in front of the judge that matters. Because he's going to be the one deciding whether you're going to be fined or not that police officer.
Patricia, what you just said is fascinating because what I've heard is that in many Black families,
they've done the same thing.
Some of them do,
yeah,
but many of them hear a different version of this, which is the police is out to get you.
No. They're only doing their job.
Yes, and that is why you see a lot of them hostile to law enforcement because they've been told growing up that simply because of the color of your skin, because you're Black, you're a target. I'm hearing you saying that you, a white woman, told your daughter this is how to act, and a different conversation is happening in your household, and yet in a Black household somewhere, they're telling their kid expect to be treated differently because you're Black.
No. You're going to get treated the same way no matter what cop stops you. And what was funny was a Black cop stopped me one day and wrote me a speeding ticket. And I said, yes, sir, no, sir. Thank you, sir. I didn't argue with him. There's no sense in arguing with him.
Yeah. Look, okay, so just in closing, back in Nigeria, our police is weird, okay? They're weird because they don't get well paid. And they get sent out by the higher ups to go out to take bribes on the streets. The higher ups they get a cut of the bribes that they receive on the streets, and you don't come back to the station without reaching your quota. So whenever I drive around and I get stopped by the police while I'm driving, I do several things. One, I put on my dome lights.
Yes.
Two, I roll down my window, and then the third thing, I smile, and I say, "How are you doing? How was your day? How's the family doing? What's going on?" I act like I'm a long lost friend that pulled up and just wanted to find out how they're doing. 9 out of 10 times, they simply respond in a they mirror my attitude and say, hey, it's good, okay. And then they finally say, okay, do you have anything? Do you have anything to, to give us? Yep. And many times I'm like, no, I don't. and then they say, okay, no problem, move along. But there
Yep.
are other people who come with an attitude, like, why are you stopping me? Do you know who I am? They get into it with the police, and that's dangerous. Okay, so
You don't
even
pick a fight with somebody who's armed.
exactly, even if the police are like the devil where you come from, you need to have the right attitude. You need to have the right attitude. You don't go out there and antagonize them. Okay, they already had a horrible day.
Yep.
All right.
Like I
Now
said,
you have
hold it
you
for
you
the
have
courtroom.
ICE. ICE has had a target on their backs for a whole year since Trump took office. This time around, and the 4 years before that, they had been accused of allowing the Biden administration tell them to let these illegals run wild
They
in the
were
United
accused
States.
of whipping people, of being mean to people, crossing the border illegally. Yeah, they were accused of a lot under Biden.
So they're carrying all of this, and then you want to go and antagonize them. Oh, but they're supposed to be professionals, guy. Please, can you just be smart? Can you just remove that indoctrination that you've been fed by the news and by your college professors? Okay, these are real people with feelings, with families, with fears, with frustrations. You've been piling on them for 8 years, and then suddenly you want them to be cheerful and normal.
They will protect themselves. They will protect the others, the other ICE agents around them, and they will protect the people they take into custody.
Yeah.
And if you think they won't, just remember, Renee Good got shot, now this guy. And
And if
another
this
guy.
insanity continues, more are going to get shot. It's not
Mhm.
wishful thinking, it's just the way it is.
Don't make them draw a weapon and show you what their marksman skills are.
These people have families, they have kids. Their first responsibility is to their families, to their kids.
And they want to
Okay?
go home.
And they're not going to let some crazy individual out there who's listening to Tim Walz and Frey uh, kill them and deprive their kids of a father
And
and their
they're Antifa
spouses of a
trainers.
husband. So while you guys are piling furniture and acting the fool, there's
Into
a
the street.
real there's a real danger out there that these people face. These people are Americans. These people are people. They have feelings. And you know what? If you don't make the job uh, easy for them to do and you make it difficult, you increase the risk of things like this happening again and again. That is just common sense. If you will not listen to common sense, we're going to do another live stream of another incident that was caused by you for not acting out in common sense. We're not again, we don't take joy in these things. Like once usually what happens with a lot of live streamers is as soon as there's an incident they go live. I don't have that luxury for several reasons. One reason is I have a family. Second reason is the channel isn't made up of people who can jump on a live stream on a dime. So I that's not my audience. So we don't look out for these things as content. We look at them as oh my goodness, something horrible that we warned of has happened again. Okay, it's exhausting to keep talking about these things. And when we say, look, we talked about this months ago and now it's happening, it's hard for people to believe me. So go back and watch my content. There's I've done 1,000 videos. So I don't know if you have the patience to do that, but we've been talking about this. You don't throw rocks at federal agents while they're going out there apprehending criminal illegal immigrants. You don't. It's
Just don't do it.
I don't know. If anyone
Just
said to
don't.
me years ago that you have to tell people don't take a gun into a situation where you potentially will be encountering federal law enforcement in a tense situation. If anyone had to, if anyone said I would have to say that, I would say, look, you're losing it. But we're having to say that today. Don't take weapons into a situation that is already tense.
Well, the bottom line is the left knows they can't win this in court. And they're the ones that file all the lawsuits. Oh, we're going to file a lawsuit. We're going to file a lawsuit. We're going to file a lawsuit. They know they can't win in court. So what's their answer to it? Create chaos in the street. And what they don't, what Tim Walz and Frey doesn't realize right now, because of what they've let Antifa do in their state and their city, it's going to take the National Guard to get them out of the street. Or else Minneapolis is going to burn again. St. Paul's going to burn. And that, I think, is what the Minnesotans fear the most, is Antifa being turned loose again in their cities.
They've already been turned loose. The messaging by Tim Walz and by Frey has given them cover. Yeah, they have cover to do all that. That's why that guy can do a TikTok calling for people to show up with guns and giving them the location. Well,
instead of just burning the city down, they're going to bring gunfire to the streets.
Well, here's what's going to happen now. What you guys don't realize is that the agents that you're dealing with already have body armor. Once the first shot is fired, they know what to do. They will protect themselves. But what that does is that it changes the equation. It changes the equation. It changes the rules of engagement. And that means that for the innocent, well, I wouldn't say that they're innocent, but for the ignorant, useful idiots who will show up unarmed and unprotected, they are the collateral damage that CNN is going to show on the big screens as, oh, look, ICE is shooting at American citizens. Meanwhile, clowns like that who called for the violence, who called for people to show up with guns, might get away. They might escape it and not get hurt. But it's the innocent people who don't know how to handle a gun, who don't own a gun, who don't own body armor, who get killed in those situations. Look at those two ladies who were in that situation where the guy got shot today. They were there doing their thing. That guy shows up. He wasn't connected to them in any way. He just shows up. And what if that gun went off and then one of them got killed?
Yeah.
So there will always be collateral damage to insanity. And what we're trying to do here is just have some common sense talk about this whole situation. It is sad. I don't like seeing things like this, but you know what? The world is crazy. People are crazy. Okay, crazy people do crazy things. And when you have people who are meant to be leading their cities and their states into prosperity, encouraging things that will destroy the city and state, saying things like they've been saying for the last year, and everybody thinks it's okay, then we have a problem.
Now, there is a difference between the National Guard and the U.S. military. The National Guard are armed. They are armed with M16s. They will carry them into the street. And that opens up a whole new ballgame. And that's when a lot of people can end up dying.
Yeah.
Especially if they turn on the National Guard.
Yeah. All right, guys. We have to stop here. Patricia, you want to say more? Because this is exhausting. It's like telling my kids to put out the light before they go to bed. And you keep saying it, and you keep saying it again and again, and it's 3 years, and you still have to walk up the stairs to make sure that they turn out the lights. It's exhausting, but it has to be done.
Will I be shocked if the National Guard shows up on those streets?
Nah.
No. Will I be shocked that Trump automatically federalizes them?
No.
No. And I believe that National Guardsman knows exactly that that's what's going to happen. And he is with common sense people in Minnesota that says we don't want this happening on our streets. And hopefully they are those people, and they will go with Trump controlling it and getting it calmed down there and telling the people, go home.
Hopefully.
The federal agents are going to do their job. You go home. If you don't go home, we will contain you. And when that happens, all heck's going to break loose on the national media.
Yeah.
They're all going to have a cow.
Yeah. All right.
It's
We have to
coming.
say we have to say good night. We're gonna keep talking and talking if we don't say good night. So guys, thanks for joining us tonight. Just pray for Minnesota, okay? The leadership there is insane. Just pray for them, and then we'll keep our eyes on the happenings in
If the
Minneapolis. And
Minnesotans that are against this, they don't have to show up, but they do need to get on social platforms and say enough. This has got to stop. They need to put their voice out there and let the rest of America know that we don't condone this. We don't want it. These people need to go home.
yeah, they do.
And if they get loud enough, they'll be heard. And Tim Waltz and Frey are going to have to shut their mouths.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that can stop what's coming right now. And there's
Well,
enough of them outside of Minneapolis and Minnesota, and even inside those two cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul, that can stop this just by voicing their opinion. And I hope they all wake up and do it.
I hope so too.
Because
All
a
right.
lot
So
of people's going to die if they don't.
yeah. All right, guys, we love you, and thanks for hanging out with us tonight. It's
Say your
winter, and all of
prayers.
this insanity is happening, and they want protests, and they want to shut down downtown Minneapolis. We'll keep our eyes on the situation.
Pray
Monday,
for God's
we are
guidance.
yeah,
Pray for God's guidance.
yes, and also for you, also pray for God's guidance for you, okay? Because we all need we all need God's guidance. Sometimes I watch the news and I'm like, my God, what's happening to the world?
I
But
know
let's
I
all
get angry. I get angry at people that I see in these videos that are so anti American, especially the ones that claim that they're a veteran.
yeah,
If you're a veteran, you're not going to destroy America
yes,
unless you're one sick individual. You're going to stand up for law and order and what's right
yeah,
and the Constitution, not for Tim Waltz and this Frey dude
yeah,
that want to just rip it apart so they can do their own agenda of Somalian fraud and line their own back pockets. No, it is taking a lot of the attention away from that fraud thing, isn't it?
yeah. Okay, so let me read this comment from Mark Heimler. He's commented on the main channel. I don't think he moved over to the backup channel because he's watching after the fact, and he says of this story, they create the problem and then get upset when Trump does something to try and solve it. I wish Trump would stop worrying about the optics of things and just straight up put Tim Walz and people like him in jail. He has the support he needs. It's pretty clear to me. Just an average YouTube watcher that Tim Walz that Tim Walz's hands are red in this fraud.
Yep.
Just what we said, there are people who want Trump to just go all out and do what the Democrats do. But I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we should we have 3 years, and Trump has to be very deliberate about these 3 years. And I
Let
think
the
he
process
is.
play out.
Yes, let the process play out. They're going to try to fight him in the media. They're going to try to fight him on the streets, and they're going to try to fight him in the courtrooms. Okay, but their plan is announce that there's this lawsuit, he's breaking the law, and then when he wins at the Supreme Court, they don't announce it, or they announce that this is yet another reason why the Supreme Court has to be packed. They want to use that to build their narrative. Okay, now, whatever Trump and his team are planning, they really have to have an ace in the hole to deal with this insanity, because essentially, this is crazy. You know it. I know it. And thank you, Makhaimla, if you're watching, for that comment. I just saw the view count jump, so I'm assuming that he jumped onto this stream late, and he will not be hearing us talk about this at this point. So let's just say good night. Have a great night. Hug your loved ones. Tell them you love them, and we will see you next week. A new video is dropping on Monday. Okay, and I hope you enjoy it. Patricia, do you have any words to part with?
God bless you all. Pray for our country. Pray for Minneapolis and St. Paul.
And stay safe.
More people need guidance.
Yes.
Stay warm, everybody, and stay safe.
People need God. Okay? People.
We need God back here big time.
People need God.
Now, we prayed for God to do something to help America, and he sent us Trump.
Yeah.
Now's not the time to stop praying. It's the time to double down on your prayers.
Yes, it is. All right. Oh, and you know what? I went through this entire live stream and I didn't say subscribe if you haven't, like the video, share the video. I have to start doing this regularly if I want my channel to grow. Give it a thumbs up. Send a signal to YouTube world that this video is helpful to you and might be helpful to someone who looks like you. Thank you so much for being a part of this, and good night.